Hi, everyone. Um, Thank you for joining today's session. Uh, I thought what I'll do is I'll walk you through a set of agents that we were able to deploy across multiple Fortune 500 clients over the last year. And these are all built on Max.ai, the platform by ZS. And this is available on the AWS Marketplace. It's very complementary to AWS Bedrock, where we use all of the foundational technologies from Bedrock and then build the agents on top of it. If you look at the last 12 months, I think what I believe is happening is AI agents are pretty much the new decision engines and the intelligence engines that are powering a lot of applications in the enterprise. We're also seeing a convergence between classical AI, which is an old predictive AI that we had, traditional data science models, and they're all converging into the agentic AI layer. And the key for this is pretty much multi-model, multi-agent systems. We are looking at a lot of workflows that are present in the enterprise and how we are able to kind of code it into agentic AI to power them with this next set of technologies. And in order to do this, largely, we did have to develop a specific agent architecture. And when we're looking at from an enterprise standpoint of view, we wanted to make sure that users had the choice to pick whatever model that is necessary. So today, if there is a Llama 3.2, then we should be able to switch from one model to a different model if that is giving better performance. Even if I think back over the last, let's say, 12 months, this architecture has evolved quite a bit. It has gone to like through two different iterations. The application chain has become a lot more complex now. Specifically, we had to add advanced memory so that you have just both the LLM's context memory and also specialized memory that is there. And also, largely, we have eval-driven development becoming more and more key. So let's say if you deploy an agent and it is doing 60 or 70% accuracy, but the customer really needs like a 98, 99% accuracy. So the eval-driven development layer essentially looks at how can we navigate that from that 70% to the 90% through iterative loops, where you have initial outputs, a different agent is critiquing that output, finding where the issues are, and then augmenting it with graph or additional agentic AI capabilities in the system. And this is all tied together with the ability to deploy these agents very, very fast with a UI as well as an API backend. So that's the agent architecture that we were able to develop and deploy across multiple enterprises. Now, what I'll do is specifically look at some of these agents. Once again, these are fairly easy to set up. We were able to deploy these in roughly 4 weeks at any given point in time. Many of them can be deployed within 2 weeks. Very fast build and monitoring cycle. They can be deployed directly from AWS Marketplace at this point in time. They're compliant with the client-side security protocols that are there. So if you have an enterprise and your IT has a specific governance mechanism, then we are able to deploy the agent into that environment and follow the compliance protocol that is necessary in there. And then the ZS team and the Max.ai team also has a dedicated early engagement. So they'll help you kind of make sure that it is running at the accuracy levels that you're shooting for at this point in time. And here are a couple of, I thought, let's pick up a couple of different use cases that are quite popular that we have deployed over the last couple of months. The first one is like the Q&A and the AI companions. So that's been the common use case that people are starting off with. The second one is voice of customer. So this specifically specializes in picking a lot of comments and information all over the place, whether it's available in internet forums or competitive market research that your teams are gathering, and then combine that information and then provide intelligence on an ongoing basis. Content marketing had become one of the biggest use cases that is there. If we go back the last few years, you can do very sophisticated predictions on what you should send the customer, but the content has always been very, very static. So that's another place where the agents are able to provide really powerful and personalized content that can be generated at scale at this point in time. Similarly, we have customer service, digital marketing automation, that is a big use case. And then we have a bunch of these around contract negotiations, policy documentation, and issue resolution that has become that has come out to be very powerful use cases that we are seeing. And against these, we developed a set of agents. So our team is fairly interested in 80s and 90s sci-fi, so they have all these agents named around specific of these agents. So we have the AI companions, personalized content. We were able to take personalized content and then also do it in very highly regulated industries like healthcare, where you have protocols around medical literature review and everything else. So they are able to kind of make them function in those environments, and also power analytics, so which used to take a couple of days to do. Now, from an ad hoc analytics standpoint of view, we're able to do it in a couple of minutes. And also do it in very specialized situations, like, for example, one of the companies that we're working with is AAR Tracks. They're qualified from an aircraft maintenance standpoint of view. If you thought about Defense Llama, where they did it for the defense side, this looks at the commercial aviation industry and the equipment that is available in commercial aviation industry. We're able to fine-tune the large language model on that particular data and then provide that in. And for the rest of the session, I thought I'll show you specific examples where we have deployed this. The first one is an AI companion. It's called Myelo. We developed this in conjunction with the International Myeloma Foundation. And you had to get a couple of things very, very correctly. One is it needs to be highly accurate. Since it's patient-facing, it cannot hallucinate. So you need the guardrails to be very stringent. The second is it has to be very compassionate and empathetic when it provides a response. And then it needs to function 24/7 and also speak in multiple languages and address multiple countries. So this is an agent that we have deployed. You can actually go to myeloma.org and try this agent on yourself. So it's very good at tackling difficult questions that might be coming from patients or their loved ones that they're doing. And it is able to scale the Myeloma Foundation support groups by a lot. Earlier, they were not able to handle either global demand that's coming from other countries, or they didn't have enough reps to be able to tackle this. And now they're able to power all that over the last 6 months at this juncture. And similarly, a different agent is more around personalized content. I think one of the questions that you can ask is, let's say you have a fraction of budget of Apple or Nike or Amazon. Can you kind of create a similar level of content? Or can you take content that's available publicly and then learn from it and then see if you can create similar content in your own enterprise? And that's an agent that we have created and now deployed across multiple Fortune 500 companies. This particular one can take a look at an ad that someone has developed and then get a lot of information out, and the agents are pretty good at doing this. It can look at the content that is there, the tone that is coming out of it, the sentiment out of it, extract text, color, a number of data points, which used to be very hard to get in the past. I mean, this used to take like 6, 7, 8 months to analyze all your digital content that might have been developed over the last 4 or 5 years. Now we are able to index all that information at one go, very, very fast. And then when you have to do a new marketing campaign, then you ask the question, I want to target Gen Z with this type of a content. Can you create that content for me? And that's something that this agent is able to do very effectively. Now you can ask a question asking that, hey, does this work in regulated industries? So what we did is we went to the most regulated industry, pharma. And then if you have worked in pharma, you'd see that we have a lot of regulations that are running around. So every piece of content that is created needs to go through the literature review, they need to be FDA approved, and so on and so forth. So what we did is we took the agent, trained it on a lot of the pharma guidelines that are there, and now if you have to create a new content in the pharma side, we're able to do that very, very fast. And then it goes through all the checks and balances that need to go through, whether the right disclaimers are present, where the right information is being present. Let's say you have created a content piece in US, and then you want to deploy it in Germany. The German regulations are slightly different. It needs to go back and look at the German regulation and say, this sort of font cannot be applied, or this sort of a disclaimer needs to be much more prominent. Or if you look at Japan, then the regulations are a little bit different. So we're able to take the agent, look at the content that is getting created, speed up that process, and then when you want to deploy it globally in Germany or Japan, then you're able to effectively deploy in those situations. And all this, as the Agentic AI part is, we're able to construct a workflow where the marketing creates this, then it goes to legal and compliance for a review standpoint of view, and then it looks at the checks and balances that are there. And the MLR process says that, okay, here is 90% approval. You have a chance of 90% approval. Here are the 5 things that you need to change to get better approval. You can change that, and then it goes all the way back to Viva, which is usually the CRM that healthcare companies use, and then that's integrated there. So it's an end-to-end process. So in one of the customers where this has been deployed, from asset all the way till the approval process, we're able to do it 58% faster, almost 60% faster at this point in time. And that's weeks of time that has been saved by the agent. And now many of these companies are deploying it globally and getting those benefits at this juncture, right? So this is a very interesting agent from a content standpoint of view. A slightly more complex one is called Sherlock. This is something that we have co-developed with another firm called AAR Tracks. They are a CRM provider in aviation companies. This has been also presented at the aviation conference in Miami last month, and a lot of airlines are interested. Now, if you think about aircraft, whether it's Boeing or Airbus or any of the regional aircraft that is there, these manuals and documents are really complex. These are like 30,000 pages, 40,000 pages, with a lot of technical information and diagrams that are there. So you need the agent to be able to kind of take all that information, analyze that, and then answer these questions which are relevant from an operational standpoint of view. So there's a technician on the ground who is going to have an iPad which is proofed. It cannot connect to the internet or anything like that. So it needs to work in that case. So what we are able to do is take a llama, fine-tune it on this material that is there, and then deploy it in an air-gap environment where you're asking a question, it answers, and it also looks back into all the prior information that they have on senior technicians who have done this in the past, and look at it and see if someone has done it, and then it retrieves that information and tells them that, hey, here's how those people were able to fix this problem in the past, and if you like it, then you kind of apply the same methodology in this case. So this is a slightly specialized agent where we're not using the publicly available, like an Anthropic or something else, but we are able to fine-tune the information on these manuals and highly technical documents, and then connect back to the CRM to see, here is the replacement part, how long it would take to kind of get that back in place, and then how long it would take for them to resolve the issue. So I call this more as operational assistants, operational companions, which can work in the field, and I would see this extensible to, let's say, oil and gas or other industries where you have this highly technical information that is proprietary in nature, right? And along with this, we also wanted to see, if you look at the last 18 months, every iteration of the large language model, it has more capabilities. So we said that let's make an agent which makes it really easy for other people to create new agents, no code required. You pick your LLM and then put in your problem statement, and then it creates an agent for you and it can deploy, right? So it's that's essentially what Nova does. It essentially enables a layman in the enterprise to create your own agent and put it whatever information that you can train on it. I'd think of using this for like 60-70% of the Gen AI use cases, which are relatively probably simple in nature and don't require a complex agent to be created. And that's where this really shines And for all the people who are attending this session, at the end of the presentation, there's a QR code. You can scan it. It's available as a free trial for the next 6 weeks. So you can go ahead, play around with the different agents that you can create and see what it is able to do. And the last one that I also, so the way it works is pretty simple. So for example, you take this product manual, and pick the kind of agent that you want to do. It can be a Q&A agent, it could be a multi-model agent that is there, it can be an analyzer or a writer or an authoring agent that's possible. And then it's pretty easy to just put in a couple of clicks, write the information that you want to do, and then make the agent, and then that can be deployed within your enterprise. It can be private. If it's something that you want to share with like 3 or 4 of your team members, you can share it with them, and then they can start using it on an ongoing basis. In some of our customers, this has been created, and it kind of helped them kind of create like 500 to 600 different agents within their firm. And they're able to leverage different large language models. It's not contained to OpenAI or Anthropic. You kind of pick what is relevant for you and then create this. And as new capabilities emerge, I think that some of the use cases which are complex today can be done on a more automated basis as you go by. And that's the purpose of Nova. So feel free to try it out at your own on your own time. And I wanted to cover one more agent today during the session. This is called Prime. This is actually our most sophisticated one. This is a full multi-model, multi-agent system. So it has multiple agents running inside it, and it's aimed to solve analytics. So ZS is a fairly large firm. We do a lot of analytics at the end of the day, and we have designed this so that something which takes like 2 or 3 days to do with 2 or 3 people can be done within a couple of minutes. And the way it functions is fairly straightforward. We're able to connect to any database. We have tried with over 100 different databases that are there. It can be any cloud too. So if there is data sitting in a different cloud, we're able to pull that in. And then you ask a question, and since it's a multi-agent system, what the first agent does is it interprets your question and then figures out what the context is from your question standpoint of view, and then puts down a logical flow, tells you how it is going to solve the problem, and then writes a code for it, and then creates a visualization for it, and then go along with it. So the reason why this is particularly interesting is that it just not only answers the question that you ask, but it can also do a deep dive, call a data science model that might be there. For example, if you have a scoring algorithm that some of your team members have built, it can call that scoring algorithm and then kind of drill down into that problem that you have and present the full analysis, and you can save all that analysis into a notebook, and then it can refresh that on an ongoing basis. So highly accurate. We're able to see 98% accuracy on analytical questions, and some of the firms are now rolling it globally. So one of the customers is rolling it to 100 countries through all their different teams that are using it. And this can be deployed directly from the AWS Marketplace environment. So that's another agent that is there. And thank you for joining the session today. Hopefully this was